Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this series. As you can see at the top, it's called Hot Takes. Basically, just to summarise it, I'm going to give you a hot take that I'm currently thinking of, give a little bit of analysis as to why I think that, and then you can decide whether you agree or vehemently disagree. And I'm sure if you disagree, you'll leave me a very nice comment where you won't say you're going to do something sexually explicit to my mother, or maybe even my father, depending on your preference. And we can all be civil and discuss it like grown adults. Anyway, carrying on. I'm going to come out with it. Harry Kane is the best playmaker in the world. Why? Well, we're going to get into it, but there's a few things we need to go over first. One, this is coming off the back of the Hungary game, which was played a night or two ago. I don't know when this video is coming out, so who knows how relative that could be. Where he didn't have the greatest game, I think, by his regular standards. He had a few really good opportunities that he should have put away, and his one-on-one finishing in the game was not up to his usual standard. He did get his goal through a goalkeeping error. Galaccio had a goalkeeping howler, but there is one part of Harry Kane's game that has been kind of criticised for England, in the sense that I think we heard a lot of that in the Euros, even though we got to the final. There was a great amount of discussion on Harry Kane and his role within that team and whether he should have stayed disciplined as a number 9. I disagree. Disagree completely. I think Harry Kane, as we've seen him over the last year, is at his best when he's being given a bit of freedom within that attack and role. He doesn't stay disciplined to what you would call the typical number 9 position, which is like on a sense back in between two centre-backs, just sort of waiting for that line-breaking pass. I think you need to allow Harry Kane to do both. I think you need to allow him the freedom as a number 9, and you need to allow him the freedom as a number 10, which is a sort of forgotten role in today's game. I think Gareth Southgate has done a fantastic job of coaching that and coaching the players to respond to that in a way that's effective within the game. And we're going to go over that right now. The first thing we're going to look at is the effect it has on his team when he's on the ball. Now, I don't have clips I can show you, unfortunately, because I would get done for copyright. But what I can show you are these pictures where I've sort of highlighted things. I've got 3 examples of this. I would like to show you Harry Kane's technical ability with his passing, but there's 2 things in that. One, I think we're all pretty much aware of how good a passer he is at this point, and 2, it's hard to kind of show off how good a passer he is through pictures. But one thing I can sort of show you and try to illustrate is this. As you can see, Harry Kane is on the ball in, again, a very unconventional position for a striker. He's playing sort of left wing, maybe even like sort of a left back or a left-sided centre midfielder. And what you can see here is there's Mason Mount in the middle of the screen, making the run into the middle. There's Raheem Sterling coming in from the right, trying to make in the run inside. This is clearly coached. And this is clearly the faith they have in Harry Kane as a player, because you don't make those runs unless you know you've got a world-class player on the ball that can produce those kinds of passes. So they're immediately thinking, as soon as Kane gets the ball and as soon as he's able to look up and he's got the view of the pitch, right, those are the runs I need to make. I need to find that space in between full-back and centre-back. And even if it's not an obvious bit of space to run into, it's fine, because Kane's quality is unreal. And we'll see that again with another one here. Okay, so we're seeing Harry Kane on the ball right now, middle of the pitch. From this position, there looks no real danger from a Hungarian perspective. He's facing towards his own half. There's a couple players in front of him that are maybe shielding any angles. There's no obvious player in space as well to be able to receive the ball. But look what Mason Mount does. As soon as he sees Harry Kane is on the ball, it doesn't matter how unorthodox the positioning of Kane is in terms of his ability to be able to receive the ball from any type of pass. He knows Harry Kane is on the ball, I need to make my run because he is good enough to find me. And if we go to the next picture, from that picture you see where Mason Mount is getting onto now. He isn't able to bring the ball under control in this scenario, but the fact that Harry Kane has managed to find that ball and thread it into that area in order for Mason Mount to be able to run onto is just a testament to the quality that Kane has and the way the players respond off it. We're going to look over one more. Now, as you can see, this is a bit of a twist as well, and this just goes to show the quality that Kane possesses. Kane is on the ball. Again, he's gone from the left and he's over to the right now. He's in a right wing position, maybe even a right back position, because as you can see, Sterling's right in front of him. He receives the ball. There's Kyle Walker making a run from deep. This is the obvious pass, because as you can see, Kyle Walker is running into that space there that's highlighted on the left-hand side, in between the centre-backs. And he's expecting Kane to play the ball into that area. I think Kane is looking for the run. I think he's keeping an eye. Here's the brilliance, man. Here's a player that is world-class in this position. It's the difference between a good player and a world-class player, because I think a good player would thread that ball in. Kane looks up, sees that there's maybe not the most amount of space to work into, and that it's very it's going to be very hard for England to produce an attacking opportunity from that ball being played in there. So what he does, he uses the run of Kyle Walker to shift onto his left foot and then open the pitch up more. And again, he's on his left foot, he's on his weaker foot. Kyle Walker, as you can see, has run into that space. He was expecting the ball to come. He's performed a bit of a decoy run, I guess you could say. And I have a little take on decoy runs. Their decoy runs are made by the playmaker. I don't necessarily think anyone makes a run, unless it's a very rare occasion, to not receive the ball. I think there's always the opportunity to see the ball. I think it's the playmaker's job to make a decoy run stand out. So then Kane turns in on his left-hand side. You can't see it, but Jack Grealish has come in from the left-hand side and into the middle of the pitch. He's just sitting behind Calvin Phillips on the far left of the screen. Walker's out of the game. He's not receiving the ball. Kane's used him to his advantage, and the player that was marking him has expected the ball to go in there. Kane's used that to his advantage, switched onto his left, and now he's got the opening of the pitch. He plays the ball inside. As you can see, Grealish, highlighted on the far left-hand side of the pitch, is able to take it under control, and I think England did produce a chance from this. But that ability to control the opposition with his playmaking is second to none. I can't talk highly enough about it, the world-class aspect of that. You know, he's suckered the defender into thinking he's going the one way. The defender's read him. The defender's done a good job. The defender's read his action. Kane has then stayed one step ahead of him to use that to his advantage, to turn inside and open the pitch up more. Tremendous technical ability on his weaker foot as well to just amp it up. That's one aspect of Harry Kane's playmaking ability. We're going to go over another, and that is his ability to find space. As you can see here, Kane is what you would call in a natural centre-forward position. The ball comes into the left-back area, or the left-wing area, as Luke Shaw is overlapping. He's ready to receive the ball. The ball then gets played amongst the England players a bit, and a couple seconds later, you see Harry Kane then take up this position. You will never see a centre-forward drop off into this position. As you can see where I've got highlighted on the right-hand side, the back four. He would be staying in there. He'd be trying to occupy the defenders. The defenders have no one to mark. There's no one directly, within their reach to be able to mark. Anything that they would, any player that they would end up engaging would mean they would have to leave their defensive line. Kane has left that. He's not bothered about that. There's nothing that he can really do from that position. The space has opened up on the left-hand side of England's pitch. He's just thought, like a number 10 typically would, there's my pocket of space, I'll go and enter that. I'll go and look to receive the ball in that position. He gets the ball and he lays it off, and England produce another attack. There's not too many examples of this in this game, but this is, again, another facet of a top-quality attack in mid. Just find the pocket. They exist in the games. You've got to stay disciplined, you've got to stay concentrated and be able to find it. A lot of number 10s now, you see it with Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United, who is one of the best players in the league. He'll always come short to receive the ball. He'll never sort of take it in a standard position. He'll pop up anywhere to receive the ball. He'll just involve himself in the game as much as he possibly can. Kane's clever. Doesn't necessarily do that. He finds the space, then uses his supreme ability with his back to goal to open up an opportunity where he can pass it forward or just carry the play along in whatever facet is available for him to do so at the time. Again, another world-class aspect. One more we're going to go over, and that's his vision. So this, I think, is again one of those things that separate the good playmakers to the great playmakers. The balls come from the left-back area. I think that's Jack Grealish, or I think it's Jack Grealish. It's quite blurry, it's hard to tell who's receiving the ball. The ball, as you can see, is going towards him. Kane, if you can just see there, is looking beyond there, because on the left-hand side, I think Raheem Sterling, or it could even be Jack Grealish, I don't know, there's someone there, is moved into that sort of left-wing position, ready to break the line. Kane has seen that. He's now expecting the ball to come in from the player that's just about to receive the ball. He already knows where this ball is going. He's already seen what is available on the pitch. Now he's just got to hope that the ball is given to him from his supporting player, which it no doubt would be, because it's Harry Kane. And as you can see, it's come back to Kane, and he's now ready to play the ball into, I think that's Mason Mount on the left-hand side. He's just received it from Jack Grealish, and Mason Mount's just playing further up the pitch. He knows where that ball is going before it's even come to him. Again, one step ahead of the team. And as you can see, there's a player on Jack Grealish. That Hungarian defender has come out to trying to engage Jack Grealish because he thinks that's where the danger is. No, the danger is not even necessarily now with Harry Kane. It's the space that's a little bit more available to Mason Mount. That is the key of a playmaker. It's just creating space for himself and finding those pockets, but then using his intelligence and reading of the game to be able to open the pitch up for his other players, find those players in space, and then give them the opportunity to be able to exploit whatever is available to them. Got one more example, and this is going to be a combination of all three things we've talked about: the technical ability, the vision, and his ability to find space. So, if we look at this first picture, the ball has come up from Harry Maguire and centre-back. Kane, as you can see, has dropped off into the position that is not natural for a centre-forward. He's dropped into sort of a more number 10. He's dropped in between the two holding midfielders as opposed to the defenders to find the space. Raheem Sterling, seeing this, is making the run in beyond. He knows as soon as that ball is going to Kane, if he makes a run, Kane is good enough to find him. Again, the faith that he has in his player. So as you can see, Kane has now received the ball. Sterling is making that run. You've got Mason Mount as well hugging that right-hand side who's in space. But Sterling knows that Kane has got the ball now. He's on his way. Kane has received the ball. And it's another great thing that playmakers do, which I can't even quantify in any real way. The game seems to slow down around them. I can't explain that in any sort of better way. And I know that sounds very vague and a bit silly. The game just seems to slow down. It always just seems to be played at their pace. They always just seem so in control. It was a trait I think Paul Scholes and Andre Pirlo were brilliant at. Just always felt like they were the puppeteer and the game was their puppet, just pulling the wherever they wanted to pull it. And Kane has this ability. Sterling is making the run. Kane just knows he needs to wait for this pass at the right moment, and he does. As you can see by this picture, Sterling is now breaking the line. He's got the space on the right-hand side. Look at the space he's able to work with. Kane has waited till the perfect moment. He's created the indecisiveness within the team because Mason Mount's available. Sterling's making the run. Do they close Kane down? They don't know. There's so many things to worry about. But ultimately, I think in that situation, you just need to worry about the player that's going to cause you the most damage, and that's Harry Kane. And Sterling is in here, by the way, but he makes a poor decision. The chance moves away. So yeah, I feel like I've gone over enough there in that short, in that little explanation and with all these little bits of evidence to just explain why I think Harry Kane is the best playmaker in the world. I just think some of those abilities that are just so rare in players you don't see in the modern player anymore. I think maybe 25, 30 years ago this was a very common trait in the top team. I think there's a very, very small handful of people in today's game that possess the qualities that Kane has. And to say that he should stay disciplined as a number 9, to say that he should just stick to being the focal point as an attack, I think is so wrong. It limits his qualities in other positions. And I think this adds potentially another 5 years onto his career because you don't necessarily need the pace and those key physical attributes to play as a striker that you do playing as a midfielder maybe in that position. Let me know what you guys think. Is that a hot take, or is there actually some decent little understanding to it? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.